Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here, and continuing on with some more of our mad scientist experimenting on people as we had last week. As you can see, I got my smocks so that we don't get too messy from all the experimentations we're going to do this month. This week we're looking at The Wasp Woman, a Roger Corman film. This was made during a very prolific time between 59 and 61 in which he made quite a few films, including War of the Satellites, Bucket of Blood, Little Shop of Horrors, Creature from the Haunted Sea, and Last Woman on Earth. Now, we have two Corman regulars starring in this. We have Susan Cabot, who worked with Corman on Carnival Rock, Sorority Girl, Saga of the Viking Women and Their Voyage to the Waters of the Great Sea Serpent. Looks like he was trying to give Ray Dennis Steckler a run for his money on titles. Or maybe Steckler got inspired by that one. I don't think he made his first big film until a couple years later. Anyway, he was also in the aforementioned War of the Satellites and his gangster film Machine Gun Kelly. Wasp Woman would be her final film, although she did appear on a couple of TV episodes after that. But unfortunately, she suffered from mental illness, and that prevented her from continuing to work and led to an untimely death. The other major Corman regular is Barbara Morris, who seemed to work almost exclusively in Roger Corman films, mostly in small roles such as Rock All Night, Teenage Doll, the aforementioned Sorority Girls, Teenage Caveman, Bucket of Blood, in which was one of her few leading lady roles, the Peplum-inspired Atlas, his X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes, which was when he took a break from his Poe cycle, Haunted Palace, his final Poe film. Or no, that would be Tomb of Ligeia. And she was also in his biker film Wild Angels and his gangster epic St. Valentine's Day Massacre, as well as the not sure if it's a pro or anti-drug film, but it's called The Trip. She was also in Dunwich Horror, which Corman was an executive producer on. Of course, we also have some other Corman alumni like Anthony Ainsley and Bruto Fasoda, but I've gone over their careers in other videos. Now, much like Creature from the Haunted Sea, this film opens with footage that was actually shot years later for its TV sale because it wasn't long enough. And luckily he was able to bring back the character who played Zenthrop. And we get a extended opening of him working at a bee farm for a honey company when unfortunately he gets visited by the expense manager.
Well, sir, I almost perfected a new method of extracting royal jelly from the queen wasp.
According to my figures, you're better at extracting funds from the company. Now look here, Zenthrop, over $1,000 last month for miscellaneous.
Unfortunately, he was hired to come up with better ways of extracting royal jelly from bees, not wasps. But he has made an amazing discovery about wasp royal jelly.
An old dog and a young dog.
All right, so what?
Well, they're exactly the same age. You see, the little one, Greta, has been given regular injections of my compound from the Queen Wasp.
What?
That's amazing. Why, I'm sure he's going to get the Nobel Prize for Science. No. Fortunately, the company has no use for this rather skeptical claim, and they let him go. So he packs up his wasps and heads to find a new benefactor. At which point, we are introduced to Janice Starling of Starling Cosmetics. And sales have been down. And, well, nobody wants to explain to her why sales have been down for the first time in almost 16 years. Although, board member Mr. Lane, he'll take a shot at it.
Only one woman's face was used to advertise those products. Your face, Miss Starling. The public have come to accept you as a symbol. Well, now, after 16 years, they see a different face. They don't trust it.
Why, you smug little... Yes, apparently because she is now late 30s, early 40s, I guess. Yeah, we'll go 40s. Early 40s. She's too old to be the face. Well, she has to admit, she has aged. Maybe there's something she can do, but, well, she ends the board meeting. I'll have to come up with some better ideas. Of course, you know what Lane says? Have a younger, prettier woman be the new face. Like, her secretary, who he's sweet on. Anyway, she has a meeting with Zenthrop, who can promise her some amazing results. And so they go down to the lab where he injects a guinea pig, which turns into a mouse. That will revolutionize the business of turning guinea pigs into mice. Anyways, because she doubts, he does it a second time. And then they come down to talk in terms. Well, all he wants is all the lab equipment he can use. Small percentage when it's perfected. And of course, he gets credit for the discovery. Then we come to her terms.
My formula may not be good for human beings. I have not tested yet.
You will on me.
Oh, no. There might be danger.
Those are my terms, Mr. Zenthrop. Janice Starling will be your next guinea pig.
Well, hard bargain, but, okay. Time passes. Now, the rest of the board's getting a little suspicious about all this Zenthrop guy's requisitions for equipment and stuff. And she keeps talking about this great discovery he's made, and he's going to perfect it. But they're starting to worry she may have been taken in by confidence artists, which causes Lane to ask Mary, her secretary, and his paramour, a small request.
All right, look, I'll make a deal with you. Dinner is on me if you promise to keep an eye on what goes on in there.
What do you want me to do? Read her mail and send her messages and keep her code?
Yeah, nice. This, of course, conversation is overheard by Cooper, who ostensibly was head of the research department. So, of course, he's not too happy about being frozen out too, but he has concerns other than Lane's belief that Zinthrop is a con artist.
And a confidence man.
If I were sure of that, I wouldn't be worried. I think he's a lot more dangerous. A quack.
Oh, I don't follow you, Coop.
Well, a confidence man would just be interested in your money. The only damage they can do is to your pocketbook. A quack can be fatal.
Considering this is a horror film, it's probably not too far off. Well, more weeks pass, and then Zinthrop calls Miss Starling down for two surprises. One, the cat that she had requisitioned for him is now a kitten, and has for number 2.
Today will be your first injection. Come.
Okay, now we're getting started. And so after that, more weeks pass. And it's a slow progress. Although she is starting to look at least 5 years younger. That's something. But she wants to speed it up. You know, maybe increase the dosage, but you know, you gotta go slow. And then Zinthrop does the one thing you should never tell someone who's in a hurry.
Experimenting with a concentrated solution of the enzymes. Oh, a great deal more powerful than the solution I've been using in your injection.
Oh?
Yes. And I think it will be better for lotions.
Why did he do that? We all know what's going to happen. Well, anyways, Mary searches Starling's desk after, you know, she's gone out to lunch, finds the Zinthrop letter, takes it, meets with Lane and Coop. They read it, and Coop decides he's going to do a little investigating on this Mr. Zintrop's background and see if he can't search that lab. Meanwhile, that night, I swear, I'm going to delete that stinger. Anyways, Janet sneaks in and starts giving herself injections of that condensed compound. And the next morning,
you're not rugged, it's true.
Yowza! Wow, the compound works. Everybody in the office is like, wowed. Well, Coop is now determined he's got to get into that lab. Now, Zinthrop hasn't seen the new Miss Starling, or else he'd be really concerned. Especially after he sees what happened to that cat. I'm sorry. I know it's supposed to be shocking and scary, but that cat does not look vicious. Anyways, some seriousness now. Zinthrop is forced to kill the cat, and then, after disposing of the body, in a daze, he walks out of the building, leaving the door of the lab open. And he's hit by a car. gotta say one thing. Corman does this a little bit stylistically better than Ed Wood did in Plan 9 from Outer Space, where in that one, Lugosi just walks off camera and stops, and you see his shadow in the shot when he's supposed to have gone out into the street, and you hear the screech of the tires. At least here, Corman realizes to have his actor move enough far away so that the shadow leaves the shot. Well, he's taken to the hospital as a John Doe. Meanwhile, Cooper, having found the office door open, he sneaks in, searches the desk, and finds a notebook, which he takes with him, just avoiding Miss Starlin, who is going to get another injection. Once Zinthrop's been missing for a while, she calls out a private detective so we can get some good old hard-boiled detective dialogue.
The letter's been taken, and you think you know who took it, is that right?
My secretary, Miss Tennyson.
You got her address handy?
Her phone number.
It might be better if I busted in on her cold. This way she'll have a chance to prepare a story.
Yeah, that's what Coop gets for keeping the letter instead of letting her put it back. Oh, that actor is Frank Gersel. Character actor. Played a lot of similar type roles. Also played scientists in some of our more favorite low-budget films like Killers from Space and The Atomic Brain. Anyways, they go to see Mary, who confesses everything. Luckily, she made a copy of the letter, which she originally was going to bring that one. Anyway, she gives that to the detective. He calls in one of his operatives, and then we are given a second montage. The first one was the doctor experimenting. This one is also some of the extra footage that was made because you see a guy driving around and questioning people, and the cars are distinctly mid-60s and not late 50s. Anyways, he's finally located.
He's had a severe injury, and there's definite brain damage. Just how much, we can't tell as yet.
How long before you'll know?
It's hard to say, Miss Starlin.
That's our director, Roger Corman, doing a little Hitchcock bit there by popping in for a cameo. Anyways, he's in a coma, basically, and even if he comes out of it, they're not quite sure what his memory will be like. Well, more time passes. Starlin is using more of the compound, which has a side effect of giving her really bad headaches. Meanwhile, Coop has gone through the notebook. He's got a pretty good idea what Zenthrop is doing, but he needs to get a sample of this compound he mentions. So he heads off to the lab where, unfortunately, someone's there ahead of him. Finally, we're starting to get some Wasp Woman action here. Okay. The next morning, there's no trace of Coop at all. He's just gone. Well, that's suspicious, but Starlin, who doesn't seem to have a memory of what happened, assumes he took a rare day off. And she's also has Zenthrop moved to a room in the building, so he can be close at hand, along with a nurse. And then that evening, the night watchman discovers someone's in the lab. pick up now, which is a good thing because we're almost over. Anyways, now the the watchman's disappeared. Again, as soon as he walked off the job. But now, Lane and Mary are starting to get a little suspicious about these goings on. So, as the sun goes down, they go to search Coop's office, where they find his overcoat still there, and more importantly, his pipe. Anyone who's a smoker knows they'd never go anywhere without their smoking implement. He's got to still be in the office building somewhere. Now, while they've been doing that, Miss Starlin has gone to see Zinthrop because there's only one injection left. And she needs him to make more. And then another headache hits, and when the nurse rushes in to see what all the commotion is about after she'd been sent out, I think we know what's going to happen there. She don't play around. Well, while that's been going on, Lane and Mary decide to go down and talk to Zinthrop. He's the only one there. No nurse. Suspicious. Well, Lane sends Mary up to Miss Sterling's office to call the police. They've got to be brought in on this matter. Things have gone too far. And while she's gone, Zinthrop tells Lane what exactly has been happening.
Miss Starlin is not a human being any longer. The enzymes have changed her. She will destroy the girl as a female wasp would destroy her enemies, and then devour the remains.
Are you telling me she completely devoured Bruno Vasoda? And she's still slim? She's seen 3 people, and she's still slim. How? Well, that doesn't matter. Because Mary finds out all this stuff on her own. I gotta admit, she puts up a better fight than the others have. Well, at least to the end of the shot. And she reverts back to that old cliche. Exactly. Anyway, Lane starts to head to the penthouse offices, but he has to stop and go to the lab because, as luck would have it, he sees her dragging Mary into the lab, where I guess she consumes everyone. And so he and the now mobile Zinthrop head to the rescue with Lane putting up a pretty decent fight. Who would have thought a chair would make such a good deterrent to Wasp Women?
Very funny.
Anyway, luckily, Zinthrop spots a bottle of acid. That looked like it hurt when it hit. Actually, it did. Cabot mentioned that when it hit her, although it was only filled with water, it struck her so hard she thought knocked her teeth in. Anyways, Lane, taking this opportunity so that he can be the big hero, finishes her off. Sadly, Winthrop's heart gave out. And as for Mary...
Mary!
I'm not dead.
And let us now take one last arty look at the remains of the Wasp Woman. Just a minute. Those aren't wasps, those are bees.
Inconceivable.
Oh well. I guess wasps are too hard to get. Considering they're a little more aggressive than bees and they can sting multiple times, probably just as well. But yeah, that was The Wasp Woman from Roger Corman. And it's not bad. It's much like last week's movie, it takes way too long to get going. The monster doesn't even appear until the last 10-15 minutes of the film. And then it's like bang, bang, bang. Anyway, but unlike last week's, this one actually has some interesting things to say about that time period. And issues with gender and beauty and things. The author Danny Perry, in his original edition of cult sci-fi films, which I used to have but don't anymore. More's a pity. But anyways, he made an interesting comment that the thing about the main character is that, as most people do, they get older. And she's being penalized for that. Most aging actresses would know about that. And so they want to get rid of her. Well, not wanting to be gotten rid of, she takes a chance to become younger again. But then she pays the price for that, because then she turns into a monster. So she's a very tragic character, because one way or the other, she was going to be done away with, literally and figuratively. She couldn't catch a break. She can't stay her own age, and she can't turn younger. It's a very interesting thing to think about, and very reflective of issues we still do with today. You know, with all the actresses as they get older start getting plastic surgery and all those things, which I think they were already doing that in late 50s, early 60s, you know, with the whole facelift thing. I mean, look at Joan Rivers. She had so much facelift stuff done that when she was elderly, she had a smooth face, but her eyes were stretched almost back to here from all the facelifts she'd had. Of course, she made jokes about how she had no feeling left in her face, but still. All in the search to stay young and beautiful. Whereas, mostly, us guys, we're allowed to go gray, get a little bald, and still be considered viable. Look at Jack Nicholson. If he hadn't retired at 80, he'd probably still be starred in films. But how many starring films do you see with Andy McDowell now? Actually, it was also a similar plot to that film last year, or was it earlier this year? Substance? Only it was a little more body horror than this. But still something that resonates with today, and is still something we think about, which I find fascinating. That an old film that is 60 years old is still relevant, and its issues are being reused in horror films today. I think that's just amazing. anyways, it's, as a lot of Corman films are, although quickly made and very cheap, it's well made for its budget and well acted. Cabot, Ensley, what was her name? Morris, and the guy who plays Zinthrop. They're all give really good performances, and especially Cabot, because you really get to go down through all her different problems that she faces, and you really feel for her. Even when she becomes a crazed mutant wasp and is killing people, you still feel for her because she was kind of backed into this by her own employees in a way. And she goes through a lot of emotional phases. Yeah, very good film. I mean, I know Corman gets a lot of knocks for his, and deservedly so. I mean, especially if you remember the monster in It Conquered the World and how ridiculous it looked. But here, probably one of the better makeup jobs. That Wasp Woman mask is great, and they give you some nice close-ups of it. And don't know if it scared anyone, but it is certainly well done. And like a lot of his films, there's a kernel of intelligence that goes through these. Even his silly ones, like Creature from the Haunted Sea, which is very silly, but smartly silly. And a lot of his other films are, very smart filmmaker. But he was an exploitation filmmaker. He was always looking to exploit things. Especially in the later years when he was running his film companies. My favorite story about him is a guy that made, I think it was Sword House Massacre 2. And he had made it, and he showed it to Corman. I don't know if I've told this before or not, but anyways, Corman looked at it, said, it's good, handed us more money, and said, you need some scenes with strippers in it. Because he wanted to sell it for its nudity and gore. There you go. Anyway, I enjoy this film. It is much better than it has any right to be, and is a thoughtful look at gender issues. Please hit like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay after the credits for my favorite scene.